Informative broadcast, and we realize that we're in maybe in a situation in life that we've never been in before, and to try to understand that is what we need to do with the Afghanistan exit, if that's what you're calling it. And how does it affect really a lot of things: money, currencies, stock market, Bitcoin, precious metals, and our standing in the world, and Taiwan, and the Middle East, and Israel, so many things. So we're bringing in the best expert we know, and that's Bob Kudla from TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's www.TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Bob, great to have you on today.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for having me. What I want to do is I want to frame out kind of two perspectives for people. If you're my age or a little bit younger, you remember the 70s. Okay, so we're, from a secular standpoint, we're kind of revisiting some of the same things that happened in the 70s. We had a stock market that wouldn't go down with the top stocks. Then we had inflation show up. Then we had Nixon taking us off the gold standard. Then we hired Jimmy Carter. Then we hated Jimmy Carter. Then we had Saigon. Then we had the Iran hostages. Well, now fast forward to 2021, that decade is happening in 6 months.
Oh my!
And so look at what happened here. So you have, when Biden took over, the price of everything shot up. We talked about this before, so I'm not going to belabor inflation, but it's there. And now it's inflation that's happening with food, energy, rent, healthcare. So people are already a little upset about that. Then they can't get the virus thing straight. Should we vaccinate? Should we mask? Should we mandate? And this doesn't matter. The virus is doing what the virus is doing. And people's civil liberties now are getting rolled over. So people are upset about that. And then this weekend, and this one gets me, I'm usually pretty even keel about all this stuff, but I'm a former Marine Corps officer. So this Afghanistan thing really frosts me, because it was, and we and I talked about before we got on air, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. You kept saying, are they incompetent, or did they do this on purpose? I don't even know if you can know. I think it was callous indifference. They don't like the military. They don't care about our allies. They don't care about human life. They don't care about the strategic importance. I mean, they literally just walked away. And we knew this. Blinken in 2014 was not supposed to get hired in the Department of State in the first place, because Senator McCain, of all people, said, this guy is a cut and runner. And here we go. We put him in charge of it, and that's what he did. And it was insane what they... We're going to look over time on this, and that's going to be the remember when. Remember, said, where were you for Pearl Harbor? Where were you when Kennedy got killed? This is going to be, remember when we screwed up in Afghanistan? Worse than anything. And it's really from a strategic importance kind of a thing, from people being affected personally, not that much, but it's going to explode over time, because it tells the whole world about the United States. It says, first of all, the liberal wing of the United States can't be trusted.
No.
Not at all. And they're incompetent, number two. And so, you can't trust them, number three. So now you have allies like Taiwan, Germany, England, Australia, Korea, Japan saying, well, wait a minute, we have a emerging competitor or threat, depending on who you are, in China. And the Chinese, they didn't waste any time trolling us. If you saw that, they were trolling us, saying, hey, remember Hong Kong, remember Taiwan, United States got your back. And this means something to people. I mean, the Germans are apoplectic. They're saying, you didn't even tell us you were leaving, which is just amazing to me. Now, I'm sure everybody's been talking about this, so I'm not going to belabor this anymore. We all know it was a total catastrophe. But what it's going to mean to us economically, I think, is far worse. When Jimmy Carter started to fail as president, our stock market lost half its value. Oh, inflation out of control, and we had the malaise. Remember the malaise? You and I were just kids back then, but it was the malaise. Remember whip inflation now, buttons. I had to walk to school. If I missed my bus because of sports, I had to walk because we couldn't afford the gas, all that.
All that, yeah.
And so that's what's going to come at us again. And look what happened this week. Monday was down, but they kind of pushed it up into Biden's speech. Tuesday down today, the market sold off really hard. We're talking Wednesday, sold off really hard. I'm told where the guys do these a lot of option activity in there. To Thursday and Friday, the dealers aren't going to be in there to do their normal rescue. So we'll have to see if the Fed comes in and tries to prop the market. But I think now for the next 6 to 8 weeks, we may see a pretty good sell-off in the market. And if people get scared, Paul, remember, we're in what's called a market cap passive environment. So that means if people start selling, it's kind of like a snowflake turning into an avalanche. I'm not calling for it, but that's mathematically what's possible. And so all of a sudden you start seeing some really weird things happening. Crypto's been, look at the crypto bit the last 2 months. Remember crypto go to zero? Well, crypto ain't going to zero anymore.
No.
And then gold, and you and I talked about this before too, because we laughed because everybody's been asking me about this, and I said I bought Planetaire. So I don't know.
Well, Planetaire goes out. Yeah, Planetaire goes out, folks, yesterday, and they're a technology company, and they buy $50 million worth of gold bars, physical gold bars. And you caught on to this real quick, and you went ahead and bought some stock in.
I bought the stock right away because you know what? These guys are the surveillance state. All their customers are the intel agencies and governments. So the people that run that company are talking to people that run intelligence agencies.
Right.
And they're saying, we're buying gold because of potential black swan events. You pay attention. And so that's the two things. You better be buying gold, and you better be buying Planetaire. Yeah, I don't like Planetaire personally, even though Peter Thiel runs it. He's a libertarian. I don't like surveillance state. So, if it's a moral issue, if you don't buy Planetaire, but definitely buy gold. And yeah, so I think this is going to change. Gold and silver have been getting pounded. Well, it didn't go down this week.
Right.
Okay, and so I think we're going to start seeing people now drift away. Remember, the dollar is only there because of confidence. If we lose confidence around the world in the dollar, okay, then people are going to go to Bitcoin. They're going to go to gold. Look, they've been buying housing. The reason why BlackRock's buying housing, not because they want to turn everybody into slaves, it's just because they have trillions of dollars they need to put to work, and so they know inflation's coming, so they're buying housing. Okay, and you got all these rich oligarchs around the world that are buying American farmland. Everybody knows what's coming, and so we need to protect ourselves too. Hey, buy grocery stores, Paul. They're going to raise the price of food stamps, not price, but the contribution. That means food prices are going to rise even higher. Food companies are going to make more money. Look, we can complain about it, or we can protect ourselves. So, look at Safeway, look at Kroger. You want to make sure you have yourself positioned if you like to have conservative stocks, because food prices are going higher. We've talked about this before. Climate change. It's the global solar minimum. It's not what people are telling you. It's going the other way, and that means shorter growing seasons, et cetera, et cetera.
What about energy? What about energy? I mean, oil and energy futures. Where do you see them going?
Yeah, so we own energy too. Oil went down today too, which tells us it was liquidation, in the markets. But overall, energy prices are going to go much, much higher because Russia and Saudi Arabia now control the market. We used to control the market, but we handed that. That's the other thing they did. They handed it over back to the Saudis and the Russians.
When former President Trump was in charge, he made America oil independent. We were cranking oil everywhere, and we didn't need to buy one drop of Saudi Arabian oil. Now, Biden administration has shut down the oil wells, stopped the drilling, stopped the Keystone pipeline, and next thing you know, in the most critical time, due to our own blunder in Afghanistan, Russia, Saudi Arabia, they're back in the driver's seat. OPEC is back in the driver's seat. Am I right?
Yeah, we're begging them. Just like we begged the Taliban. America doesn't beg. Now we're begging. That's the other thing too. And people hate beggars. I mean, it's beneath you. if you need something, you don't beg. Have some pride. And here we are. We still have the most oil reserves in the world, most natural gas reserves in the world, the largest coal in the world, and yet we have to get energy from third parties because of this Green New Deal garbage they're trying to shove down our throat. And that's why energy prices are going to go sky high. You look at Australia, you look at Germany, prices have gone through the roof for energy because renewable energy costs a lot of money. Not just because of that, because you have to store it. And battery storage technology is expensive. So all these things are coming at us hard, Paul, and they're coming at us at one time. And Joe Biden is not cognitively able. So now we have, our next choice is going to be Kamala Harris. The joke was going around, they're calling it Kamalistan. I don't laugh at that one. That was really funny.
You got to take some. Well, now what you just painted for us is a deep recession, because you just said energy is going to go sky high, food's going to go sky high, the dollar is not going to be trusted. We're not trusted geopolitically, and gold is going to go high, and it should. So you better buy now. The market may go down if it's a repeat in history as it was in the days of Saigon. If it don't fall in half, it could fall a third. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah.
And this is serious. I mean, are we talking recession or deeper?
Look, it's possible. I mean, look, we're supposed to have an infrastructure bill and turned into some sort of political garbage bill, right? So we're not even investing into the future of our country. We're just paying off inner city monarchs, right? That are gonna basically pee the money away. So yeah, look, it's really possible. People are going to need to really start paying attention here, because these people they're literally living in a world that we don't live in. Just like that CIA analyst said on MSNBC today, goes, I don't know what review you watch, but I was appalled. I don't know what universe these people are coming from, and they view everything that way. They're activists. They're not statesmen or bureaucrats. They have an agenda, and they don't care if they burn the whole place down. They're religious zealots of the secular humanist psychology. Yeah, and they don't care if they burn the whole thing down, as long as they have theirs. They call it being the king of a dunghill. As long as they're the king of the dunghill, they'd just rather be the king. And you look no further than Mexico to see how that turns out. And so, I think people need to be really, really concerned. But for me, I can't afford to be pessimistic. I have to take advantage of it. And so that's what we're doing. We saw this coming. We didn't see Afghanistan coming. We certainly seen everything else coming, and we told people, by August 18th, we're going to have to be prepared to start the other way on the markets. And it just started a couple days early because of what happened in Afghanistan. But look, you're going to have to position yourself. You're going to need to own food stocks. You're going to need to own energy name. The gold and silver miners, I'm sure a lot of your listeners are with me on that, sympathetic to that. I think we're going to have our day. Uranium stocks are going to do fine. And look, it's not going to be like the end of the world. It's just going to be uncomfortable.
Now, who's the big winner in Afghanistan? Is it China? Is it Russia? I mean, how much lithium, how much gold, how much silver, how much diamonds, and how much opium is available? And oh, by the way, is the Taliban going to get a cut of that if they allow the Chinese in there and the Russians in there to mine this?
Pakistan's the big winner, not China.
Okay.
Not China doesn't know how to deal with these people because first of all, they look down upon Muslims, right? And and the Taliban, they aren't stupid people. They see what's happening with the Uyghurs, right? So they're going to extract whatever they need to extract out of the Chinese. I think Pakistan's the big winner because behind every Afghan mujahideen is going to be a Pakistani bureaucrat that's going to be helping them pull the strings. So Pakistan's a big winner in that. India's a big loser because we further isolated India. China's not a loser in this, but I don't know how much they're really going to be able to extract out of there with a profit. Okay, So I don't think
maybe China's big win is Taiwan.
People keep saying that to me. The Taiwanese have 10,000 strategic missiles. Okay, they're not cutting and running because they have nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
You know, and they know what the once they show up. You know, yeah, they'll fight. Look, they fought these people 50 years ago. They're gonna fight them again. And look, China is very, very vulnerable. It'd be a pride victory if Taiwan and China go to blows because, look, they're going to target every one of their ports. You know, they're going to target Beijing city itself. They're going to target the Three Gorges Dam. Look, you take that dam out, China is essentially no longer in business.
Function. Yeah, they're out of water. They'll be out of water.
If you throw 1,000 missiles at the Three Gorges Dam, one of them's going to hit. Okay? And so the Chinese know this. This is just being bellicose. They're hoping that they can get Taiwan to walk away without a fight, like what happened with Hong Kong, right? So I don't think it's going to happen.
Taiwan, Hong Kong did not have missiles. They did not have an army. They didn't have no way. They fought with sticks and staves, and they tried their best. Didn't go to help them either. Let's face it. And now Taiwan realizes can't count on the Americans. Don't know if we can count on anybody. Maybe the Japanese will help us since they said they would. But we've got our missiles. And we're not going to cut and run. I mean,
they have subs too. And look, and Japan will come, and I think it's given Chinese pause. The Japanese were very clear. You know, they view an attack on Taiwan as an attack on them. And so, you know, and Chinese fear the Japanese, you know, because, you know, they have good technology and they're very disciplined. And you know what? I wouldn't doubt they probably have nuclear weapons laying around underneath the surface there that probably nobody knows about. So, I don't think they're going to leave themselves, you know, China dropping nuclear weapons onto their islands. So I don't worry about that. I'm more worried about, you know, basically the sellout of the corporates, right? So Taiwan Semiconductor, like 80% of the Taiwan, the semiconductor chips, the world.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if we do have a war over there, well, nobody gets chips.
So is it possible that we may see, and we're going to talk about the success you're having, in the midst of all this chaos, your company and your students, if you will, or partners and people who are now trading because they've learned your system, you guys are blowing the doors off because you can see what's going to happen. I guess my question is it possible that China may decide to try to set up a blockade around Taiwan to try to cripple the world's need for stuff and to get Taiwan to cave? Is that a possible strategy by the Chinese?
Well, it might be a strategy, but you know, you can fly chips out of the country. So you know, so I don't know if that's going to work so much. But you know, then the world may say we're not going to let any Chinese imports into our country. You know, see, the Chinese aren't in a strong position because they're kind of like a middleman, right? The stuff comes in, gets value added, and stuff goes out. Well, if they start doing that stuff, you know, what's going to stop the Taiwanese subs from sinking every Chinese ship trying to get into a port, right? So, you know, there's too many things that. Look, the Chinese are very, very, I would say, I won't call it strategic, but they like to think through all their steps. And I think they're probably game planning a lot of this stuff. There's too many unknowns for them, you know, because it affects the whole world. It's not like you can take Taiwan out and it's not going to affect everybody else. Look, it'll bring Europe and the United States to its knees. And I don't think, and China knows that everybody will have to react to that. They're not just going to say, "Oh, okay, you know, you can go ahead and do that." But I don't think so. You know, but from this trading standpoint, we can see the money flowing. So, and you know, and we can see, you know, the shift. Like we're seasonally going into a bearish time anyway. March and September are typically bearish. It's no accident that COVID-20, COVID-21 were weak months, right, in March, you know, and then you usually have a September pullback. This one might be sharper because of a lot of the geopolitics that are happening here, and what's going on with food and energy and so on and so forth. So we can see the money flowing out of tech, and we see the money flowing into commodities and then moving into precious metals. So that's what we play. And there's the thing for people to realize, even if the market goes down, there are trades you can take to make money. And we're teaching people now, even all our subscribers, not just like our VIP subscribers, how to do some of these options to protect themselves. And we just did one today. I don't even think it's in the Attaboy, because we just literally closed it an hour before I got on with you, Paul. The reason why I was a couple minutes late, we told people that, look, the market, the dealers aren't buying into the close. So I sent a note out to everybody: buy some SPY puts, and we'll evaluate it. And by the end of the day, for every contract you made $150. A lot of people put 10 contracts on, so people made $1,500 in an hour's worth of work, because we could see it. You saw it
flowing. So even though the stock market lost 382 points, most of that in the last hour, that was a good thing for you and your followers, because you gave them a heads up. Do it now, because we can see where the money's going. And if they bought 10 and they spent $100 a piece, they made $1,500 on it.
Well, I mean, today, look, we told people first thing this morning we were short. The cryptos were kind of drifting down. They said we're going to get a reversal, so we told them to go long one of the crypto miners called Mara. And so we hit our target within the first 2 hours. So people made money on that. Then we told people you should get into Planeteer, because I think people are going to react positively to this news. And we made money on that. And then at the end of the day, I told people to short this market, because they're not reacting well to the minutes of the meeting. You see money flowing out, and we made money on that. So the market was down, and our subscribers are delighted. And so that's what we try to do every day.
Brock putting up these attaboys, showing you the comments that people are making, because they're part of this. Folks, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's www.TradeGeniusAcademy.com. What we're learning here and what we're watching is, sometimes when things are unpredictable is the toughest time to figure out whether the buyers in market, if you're in the stock market, or if you're in precious metals or Bitcoin. But when things are predictable, and this move that happened, even though Afghanistan was, nobody's seen that coming, such a blunder, it's created a predictability, though, hasn't it, of where the market will go.
Exactly. You can't predict the event, but you can predict the follow through. And so we knew how people look. Human nature is human nature. And so we knew people were reacting viscerally to this. I was acting viscerally to this. Usually I'm a very calm, even keel guy, but this really had me frosted. I'm sitting there pacing all weekend, so angry, and there's nothing you can do. And I could just imagine me times 100 million other Americans. And so when people do that, if they don't see the future as friendly, they pull back.
Yeah.
So we immediately got on Monday and said, guys, this is not going to be a positive week for the markets. So we're going to look for these opportunities. And the market showed us that, and we reacted to that.
You know, Brock is a veteran of Afghanistan. He during the surge, what we call the John McCain surge of 2010, Brock was deployed in January of that year and was there till February of 2011. And he had to go to Kandahar Providence. It was during the worst time to be there. And his reaction this weekend's been very frustrating. I'm sure to a lot of veterans and Gold Star parents and soldiers who've lost limbs and you know, because these guys fought, and they really fought to help the Afghanistan people, as well as keep the Taliban and any other jihadis out of America. So the frustration of what we've seen is, there's no way to pale the comparison. I guess Saigon, but I mean, you know, this is really frustrating. So we got to get, but here's the thing, is the worst yet to come. 30,000 people. Do they get out of there, or a third of them get murdered? I mean, what happens? What's your thought on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Taliban is treading lightly here, because if they start, you know, hostage Americans or killing Americans, then they know they're going to force Biden's hand, and Americans are going to come in there. When you get embarrassed, you tend to want to lash out.
Right.
So if they give the Americans an excuse to come back and lash out, it could be really, really, really awful.
Yeah.
So, but the United Kingdom, they're sending their patrols right into the city and picking their people up and taking them to the airport.
Yeah.
And our people are not doing that. And so they're saying, well, we're abiding by the rules. Well, my prediction is that this is not going to go well for Biden. There's going to be Americans that are going to get killed. There's Americans that are going to be taken hostage. Remember, because we're holding $1 billion worth of Afghan gold in our central bank. And so that, that's going to be a tick for tack for a play here. And they're not going to know what to do. With Trump, you knew exactly what's going to happen. Trump said, I'll turn your whole country into a glass factory, right?
Yeah, that's real.
With Biden, you're going to get all these weird, convoluted, conflated messages that aren't going to be taken seriously. And so I think this is the end of the Biden administration, to be honest with you. I don't think he recovers from this. They said the chaos within the White House right now is palpable. They said everybody's pointing fingers at each other. The Defense Department, the intelligence agencies, and the political wing are all pointing at each other.
Yeah.
And I think Biden is not handled it. I took care of a demented mother-in-law. When I mean demented via dementia,
right,
is that they can't handle a lot of information coming at them, especially if it's conflicting information. They tend to get very angry or they shut down. And I think that's what's going to happen here with Joe, and he's being provoked. And I think they're going to try to provoke him into making a mistake, and I think it's going to cause his demise. So that's my big prediction. We'll see if I'm right, but I don't think he's going to make it through the rest of this year, president.
Yeah, so that would lead us to the fact that if he resigns and walks away, Kamala Harris takes over. I don't know who's the vice president. Does she get to pick one, or I don't know how that works?
Yeah, she gets to pick whoever she wants.
Yeah, and I don't know who that would be. Sometimes I just think, who, Pelosi? Who knows? We don't know what they'll do. But one thing's for sure, I'm not so sure we go from first, if that's the case. I'm praying not. I'm an American. I love America. We got to do something, but, we can't just, we got to hope and pray that somebody can get a hold of the reins of this thing, or it's going to drive this nation into the ground. And this is a dangerous time. It's a really dangerous time. All right, right now, folks, go to TradeGeniusAcademy.com, okay? TradeGeniusAcademy.com. He's got the answers. I'm not going to say Bob's got all the answers, but he's certainly pretty good at reading the tea leaves. He's pretty good at looking at the weather map, looking at the political climate and seeing where things are going. And what you got to do is take care of you. And if you're a trader, you need to figure out what to buy and when to sell and where to be. And I think you're the place to go. TradeGeniusAcademy.com, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Do you have any specials on what's going on right now, Bob, this month?
Yeah, so if you go to TradeLikeAGenius.com or TradeGeniusAcademy.com, we have 7 bundles that we put together, 65% off. You got to take advantage of it by Saturday midnight. And in addition to that, if you want to just get unbundled items, you can use promo code SCHOOL, and you get 40% off things that from the retail price. So the bundles are already pre-discounted. And what you get is you get access to our system. You get training on how to use the system. You get the chat room. But also, we're giving trades out every day. Those 3 that I talked about, I give those trades out. So, and then I have another partner that will give out the crypto trades out. So we'll put you in the right ocean. We'll teach you how to fish. We'll throw you some fish, and we'll get you up to speed and get you confident. It doesn't really matter what the market does. There's always a bull market somewhere. And if not, there's ways you can use option trading to take advantage of when the market goes down. And like today, we deployed one of those today for our subscribers. So they
I'm not going to ask you to give me a tip for tomorrow, but I would guarantee you your wheels are turning. You're already strategizing on how the market's going to open, and you're going to be ready to give your folks a heads up on maybe where to start.
Yeah, so typically Thursdays after the Fed does these announcements that it just sells off hard into Wednesday, and a lot of times they use that to set the market up for a quick pop back higher. So we got out of those trades in anticipation of them trying to do a reversal, but we'll wait for the market to open, and the market will tell us if it's going to go up or if it's going to continue to go down, and then we'll just take that trade as we see it. So the nice thing about it is we don't always have to be in front of it. We can trade along with the market. And Paul, just to give people comfort too, remember, sometimes some of these things have to happen to wake people up.
Yeah.
We've been sitting pretty fat, dumb, and happy as Americans, and we've allowed these people to infect us as our leaders. And now people are starting to see, OMG, right? And we got to get these guys out of here. And so I look at that as kind of a bit of a Nebuchadnezzar moment here. Sometimes you gotta have bad things to clean the deck so good things can follow, and that's how I'm looking at it. My philosophy, I tell my family all the time, things don't matter to people till they matter.
Yeah.
And then now they're starting to matter to people.
Do you see a big wave? Do you see a big red wave in 2022, no matter what with the election?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, Arizona and Georgia are not out of the woods yet, too. So I just think, I think it's a foregone conclusion. They name one thing they've done well. Right. So, literally.
I can't. I don't know. Is there anything?
No. Border, safety, inflation,
critical race theory. Forget all the social stuff. Forget all the social garbage that they've been pushing on us. The bread and butter, the meat and taters, what makes America turn is driving into a ditch right now. And I think we got to
remember, people don't like losers.
No. And America don't like to lose.
Yeah, we don't like to lose, and they just gave us a big old loss.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's how I feel. I think we're good. We just have to plug on. Look, we already know we already won. So now it's really we just have to keep gliding through this, take care of each other, and one of the reason why I even do this service so I can help people, not feel paralyzed. You can make money, you can take care of your family, you can provide. Even if you lose your job, you can learn a trade if you learn how to trade. Now, I'm not promising you Lambos or any of that garbage, but you certainly can, over time, build up capital and supplement incomes and things of that nature. And it's definitely possible. The rules, trading's not difficult. It's just hard because you have to follow rules. And once you learn the rules, we'll teach you the rules. You'll make a lot of money over time because it is predictable.
Bob Kudlow, folks. He's the trade genius. Go to www.tradegeniusacademy.com. tradegeniusacademy.com. Bob, appreciate the candid conversation, and keep guiding the ship and keep people going in the right direction.